So I'm now at 15 months on the carnivore diet, and I recently got my blood work back. I went to my primary care physician on Monday, and they did the 6 month blood work. So every 6 months, he runs a certain kind of blood test and so forth. And that came back. So I wanted to share all of that information with y'all so you could see where I'm at. And again, this is after being on the carnivore diet for 15 months. All right. So I put in here my last four blood work results in here. So the October 9th of 2023, all the way over on the right, is the most recent one just from Monday. And then there was one in April of 2023. There's one in October of 2022, and then one in March of 2022. So March of 2022 was before doing carnivore, before even doing keto, because I did keto for a couple months before I went to carnivore. So this was before any of that. And then October would have been about 3 months into carnivore. So that was October 6th, 2022. And then, April, I was about 9 months in. And now here in October of 2023, I am 15 months in, just over 15 months, like 15 months and a week in on doing the carnivore diet. So looking at the numbers here, total cholesterol, you can see it's gone up a little bit from before I was on carnivore. This last one was 161. That's still a pretty good number. In March of 2022, before I had started carnivore, it was 144. Then in October, after a few months, it had moved up to 153. In last April here of 2023, it was 170, and then it was 161 here in October. The big one here is triglycerides. If you look at the triglycerides, 273 before I started carnivore diet. You can tell I just wasn't doing well there. Very high number, although I've definitely heard of higher numbers, but that's a pretty high number. And, I was eating a lot of processed foods and sugar and stuff, and that made a difference. In October, just a few months into carnivore, it had dropped down to 179. Then in April of 2023, it was down to 118, and now it's down to 107. So I'm almost under 100 on the triglycerides number. So I'm pretty happy about that. HDL, it was 38 before I had started carnivore. There was still 38 in October 2022. It was 45 in April, and now it's only a 40. So, there could be a few different reasons for that. One thing that I'm thinking is because uh, early on with, well, at least in the late winter, early spring time frame of this year, I was doing a lot more activity, doing some working out with weights and walking a lot. And I haven't been as active. I haven't been working out as much. I've been sitting at a computer a lot, doing, my work for work, doing my job and stuff like that, and doing a lot for YouTube. So I'm not getting as many steps. And I think that has a lot to do with that HDL number. So I need to start making sure I get out, get active more, and get more steps, especially as we go into the fall and winter here. It's not going to be as warm outside. So I'm going to have to come up with ways to get more steps in. I need to really get back to working out and lifting some weights and stuff like that as well. All right, LDL. This is the number that everybody always talks about is going to go really high for you when you go on a low carb, high fat diet. And for me, it has increased, but not as bad yet as what other people tend to see. So I just might not, I might be one of those people that just doesn't respond quite the same way. But it was 82 back in March of 2022 before I started carnivore. In October, after a couple months, it was 84. Then in April, it was 104. And this time it was 101. So, I think the standard range they give you goes up to like 100. So if it's over 100, they consider it high. So I guess it's a little bit high, but still nothing that bad. And I think that, my doctor hasn't ordered a further test to see, if we're talking about the, the fluffy stuff for the LDL, the large particle or the small particle. But knowing my diet, I'm pretty sure that it's the larger particle, which is not as much of a concern for LDL. But anyway, that's what the LDL number is. All right, VLDL. So this number was a 47 back in March of 2022 before carnivore, and it dropped to 31 in October, and then was 21 in this last April, and is now 20. You want this number down lower. So when it goes down like that from 47 to 31 to 21, I was really happy, and now it's still at 20. That's a really good number. So that shows a good ratio there for the LDL. Glucose. I'm not really that concerned about this number, but he always has it checked. It was 99 back in 2022, and then 95 in October, 97 back in April, and then 95 this last time. I'm not too concerned about the glucose number, just from the fast when you get the blood work done. My A1C, I had it done in July, and it was 4.8. The year before, it was also 4.8. Those were the first two times I ever had my A1C checked. So I'm pretty good with those numbers. 4.8 are great. 4.8 is a great number for your A1C. All right. So bun was 17, 17, 17. This time was 21. Creatinine, if I said that correctly, I'm sorry if I didn't. 1.16 to 1.17, 1.2, and now 1.19. Again, these are all in the normal range of what they show. Pretty standard numbers there. EGFR, this one has a lot to do with kidney function. So do the other ones I just talked about, but this one definitely is a number that has to do with like kidney function and stuff like that. That is a pretty good number that they talk about that you want to watch for kidneys. And a 78, a 77, a 74, and a 75. The 75 is, right where it should be. It's a good number. The bun creatinine ratio, 15, 15, 14, and 18. So it went up just that little bit, but it's still in a good range. Sodium. This is an interesting one. So sodium before carnivore was 140. Then it was 140 in October, 142 in April, and 138 this time. So before that first number of 140 in March, I was eating a lot less sodium in my diet. I was under the notion back then that sodium wasn't good for you and that you needed to, keep that number down as much as possible. I now eat a lot more sodium than I used to. And that number is still right around where it used to be. It was even lower this time than it was back in April. So 138 is right in the middle range. I eat a lot of sodium, and it just goes to show you sodium is not bad for you, especially if you're not eating carbs. You know, you can still have a pretty good number there for your sodium. I eat a lot of sodium and just right in the middle of the range. Okay, protein. I believe this has something to do with the liver function. If I remember correctly, it was liver or kidneys. And you want to see a good lower number here. So 7.7, then it went to 7.4, 7.2, and 6.9. Those are all good numbers. The 6.9 that it's at right now is really good. Albumin, if I said that correctly, 4.8, then a 5, and a 4.7. Again, those are good numbers in range. The globulin, 2.9, 2.4, 2.2, 2.2. The 2.2 is great numbers. Bilirubin, 1, a 0.9, a 1.1, a 0.6. Those are all good numbers as well. Alkaline phosphatase, 107, 113, 96, and 125. The 125 is a little bit higher than what it had been going, but it's still, it's like on the upper end of the good range, but it's still in there okay. And when you look at some of the other numbers that were good, it doesn't look like there's any kind of problems really with the kidneys or the liver. So that's good. AST, this again, I think I believe this was a liver check. 36, 26, 24, 27. I think this one, had a lot to do with fatty liver. So back in March of 2022, before I was doing carnivore, it was a little bit higher at 36. And since then, it's been down lower, 26, 24, 27. So the carnivore diet and not eating some of those processed foods and sugars have made a big difference for me there. And the ALT, 42, 39, 39, and then 48 kind of went up a little bit there. But again, it doesn't seem to be a concern. My doctor, not concerned at all with any of these numbers. He thought they were all really good. Um, Something I didn't list in here is vitamin D. He's been always checking vitamin D for me because it's been kind of low in the past. It was a little bit higher back in April, and let me see here really quick. Let me just get that number. So in April, it was 40.1, which was a pretty good number. And this time it was only 26.8. So it's kind of low. The good reference range is 30 to 100. So at 26.8 is a little low. And I think it's because in the last few weeks, I haven't been outside as much and haven't been getting sun. So I used to take a vitamin D supplement, and I stopped doing that between doing carnivore and getting out in the sun, getting outside more. And, evidence in back in April, it was 40.1. It was a really good number. But with not getting outside as much, I'm not getting as much vitamin D as I was, in the spring and early summer. And, it's been a little bit more cloudy and rainy around here. So my number had gone down, so that just reminds me that I'm the type of person that has to watch my vitamin D. And if I'm not getting outside enough, then I do want to take a supplement here and there for it. Like if I'm not going to be outside for a few days, then maybe a couple days there in a row, I'll take the vitamin D supplement, a small dosage, doesn't need to be a large one, just to keep that going good. And then if I get outside, if I can get outside for a half hour or an hour with good sunlight, that's going to be probably good for a couple days worth for me on my vitamin D. So that's just a number I have to kind of, you know, keep in mind and pay attention to. All right. So those are the basics of my blood work. Again, my doctor didn't do any, further blood work. He just didn't see a need to do anything. The LDL number is still pretty good where it's at, and he doesn't seem to be that concerned about it anyway. Especially when you see my triglycerides going down as much as they have, and the total cholesterol is pretty good. The HDL, he did notice, it went down a little bit, but it's still in an okay range. So just, reminded me about getting a little more exercise. I think too, if I eat a little more fat, that's going to help. Maybe I haven't ate quite enough fat in my diet here more recently. So that's something I need to consider there as well. Get a little more of that saturated fat and, like eggs and, some of the fattier beef and that kind of thing. So, those are the blood work numbers. Like I said, I didn't have my A1C checked, but that was checked back in July and it was a 4.8. Same number it was the year before, back in July of 2022, where it was a 4.8. So my A1C is doing really well. Um, and that's pretty much sums it up. Those are my numbers here as now 15 months on the carnivore diet. I feel great, and I'm just going to continue to do this thing on the carnivore diet. I've mentioned a lot of times before in other videos how it's improved so many things in my life. Arthritis is gone, joint pain is gone, more energy. I don't have depression or anything like that. And I used to have mild depression. Um, you know, AFib. I had AFib and I was having a few episodes a week. And now I haven't had an episode for over 14 months. Pretty much within that first month of doing carnivore, the episodes went away. And that's been great. I've lost a lot of weight. I've lost 80 pounds so far on the carnivore diet here in 15 months. I do, need to lose a little more body fat. So hopefully that'll come here as I continue to go. And just keep doing what I do here with the carnivore diet, right? I don't count calories. I eat until I'm comfortably full, and I don't eat again until I'm hungry. sometimes that's twice a day that I eat. Sometimes it's once a day. Typically, it's been twice a day more recently for me. Um, but that's kind of how it works. And, my big takeaway from my blood work and my HDL number is that I need to make sure that I'm a little more active. And, I want to get back to, lifting weights. I haven't worked out for a few months now, probably at least 3 months, I would say, since I last worked out. So I need to start working out again. And I'd like to start walking a little more often, like I was doing back in the spring and early summer. So go ahead and leave any comments if you have any questions about my blood work or anything like that. And if you've watched this video all the way through, please go ahead and hit the like button and share it with your friends. If you know somebody that's thinking about doing the carnivore diet and they're not really sure, they're worried about their blood work, share this video with them so they can at least see my experiences and what I've seen with my blood work since being on the carnivore diet here for over a year at 15 months. And, I'll see you in the next video.